Asia News Network, 24th of March 2023, an aggressive America stands in the way of China's slow occupation of the South China Sea. While China has expanded its diplomatic influence in the Middle East and possibly looks forward to mediating a ceasefire agreement between Russia and Ukraine, it has been steadily gaining strategic advantages in the South China Sea that threaten the critical interests of the United States and its allies. The United States has been involved in Afghanistan, Iraq, and other Middle Eastern wars for many years. Today, China has established itself as a significant military power in the South China Sea, a region through which trillions of dollars worth of annual commerce passes, which is essential to Taiwan's defense. China became utterly dependent on the United States to handle North Korea, the climate initiative, and other international problems. In actuality, China was pressuring the U.S. to modify its stance on other issues by using North Korea as a weapon. The United States let its defenses down, paid no attention to what was occurring in the South China Sea, and failed to notice that China was stealing its intellectual property and eavesdropping on its most important trade secrets. Many nations in the area, including the Philippines, Malaysia, Brunei, Vietnam, and Taiwan, have claimed the entire disputed spot in the South China Sea, comprising 250 islands, atolls, shoals, and reefs, including the Paracel and Spratly Islands. There is no denying Japan's geopolitical stake in the area. However, China continued to pursue its hegemonic interests in the room while operating under the benevolent cover of cooperation with the United States. The area has an abundance of fisheries as well as hydrocarbon and gas resources. According to accounts, China has completed the construction of all 7 artificial islands in the Spratlys, including the construction of airplane hangars, docks, satellite communications, and shelters for missiles and missile platforms. While constructing artificial islets, China continued formally stating that it had no plans to militarize them. In addition to posing a threat to the security of American allies like Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, and the Philippines, China's buildup in the South China Sea also risks crucial industries like Taiwan's advanced semiconductor manufacturing. In the opinion of American military experts, the strategic gains China has made in the area over time are irreversible. Only a protracted war could free China from its solid control over the area's geography. China may meddle in future wars by interfering with commerce. China has been accusing the U.S. of meddling in the area, implying that the U.S. has hegemony over the entire region. After the spy balloon incident, which led to tense exchanges between the two countries, it became apparent that there was an overwhelming bipartisan agreement in the U.S. that China is a significant security challenge for the country. President Xi Jinping has been demonstrating his power in various ways to take on a global position internationally, including militarily, economically, and diplomatically, to take on an international place internationally. On March 10, China shocked the world by announcing that it had mediated a deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran, 2 longtime adversaries in the Middle East, and brought them together to reopen their embassies, which had been closed for 7 years due to Saudi Arabia's execution of a Shia cleric. This is undoubtedly a significant diplomatic development that could significantly impact Israel's complex geopolitical relations in the region and the leadership position that the United States has been playing in the Middle East. Iran and Saudi Arabia both have substantial trade ties with China. Since the area provides 40% of its oil imports, peace between two rival nations is undoubtedly in its best interest. China has been attempting to establish bases in the Himalayan region, just as it did in the South China Sea, without causing any alarm until lately. Despite numerous agreements based on the international border and the lines of absolute control, it has been sneakily advancing since it conflicted with India in 1962 and constructed bases there. This has caused it to encroach upon Indian territory. In 2020, a significant battle in Ladak's Galwan Valley resulted in the deaths of 20 Indian and 4 Chinese troops. India is aware that if an agreement with China does not serve China's goals, it is meaningless. China has been attempting to rewrite history as a revanchist power challenging accepted historical truths to support its claims. It begins by laying a cartographic claim based on its interpretation of history. When its physical position becomes substantial and irreversible, it claims that this is the reality and that the current actuality should be accepted as fait accompli. After that, it nibbles away at small territories quickly and incrementally, establishing its presence without raising any alarm. China engages in a long-term strategy. Its opponents are perplexed about what kind of reaction would be proportionately appropriate in light of its slow and gradual maneuvers. China participates in a long-term strategy. Its opponents are confused about what kind of reaction would be proportionately right in light of its slow and gradual schemes. India has yet to figure out how to handle China's coercive and dishonest behavior, but the US is resolved to prevent China from getting away with its self-aggrandizement. The Indo-Pacific region has taken a central role in US foreign policy despite Russia's aggression against Ukraine, which would become integrated with Europe after the conflict. President Biden recently signed the AUKUS agreement with the United Kingdom and Australia, allowing Australia to build nuclear-powered submarines to counter China's challenge. This agreement is in addition to its renewed alliance with the Philippines regarding establishing new military bases and the Quadrilateral Alliance Quad, which includes India, Australia, and Japan. China's neighbors are angry with it because of its hostile behavior. China has not yet been able to rule the area despite militarizing the artificial island bases. Other regional forces have started to make their presence known. They have also improved the military infrastructure on the islands they rule. They have started exploring the region's oil and gas deposits independently, posing a threat to China's attempts to dominate the area thoroughly. The United States has once more established itself as essential to regional security and free commerce. The Philippines have presented China with its most significant obstacle. The Philippines successfully appealed China's authority over the contested Scarborough Shoals to the International Court of Arbitration and won the case. But China turned it down. China has demonstrated that when it serves its strategic interests, the international rule of law is not essential to it by rejecting the international arbitration ruling. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation, 2014, agreement, a significant diplomatic accomplishment, resulted from this opening for the United States to re-establish its security ties with the Philippines. Donald Trump rejected China's hegemonic claims on the South China Sea, unlike Barack Obama, who did everything he could to curry favor with the rising global power. This is the same position that the Biden administration has maintained with the full support of both Republicans and Democrats. China wants peace in the Middle East but has acted like a bully and a challengeable hegemonic power in the Himalayas and the South China Sea.